December 18th. For 7 days, Russia has been massing power. More than 30 Iskander launchers and close to 50 support vehicles are repositioned. This scale has not been seen since early 2023. All roads lead to one site, the Jankoy missile complex. Jankoy is Russia's shield. Now, it is becoming their arsenal. The threat is undeniable. Inside a secure operations bunker near the capital, Ukraine's planning team gathers. The decision is instantaneous. Russia has escalated. Ukraine must respond with overwhelming force. The order is issued. Launch a long-range drone strike. They must destroy the Jankoy stockpile now before it can be activated. At 11:59 p.m., Crimea receives no warning. It receives impact. In the final second before midnight, the first wave of Ukrainian strike drones tears into Crimean airspace. This is not a warm-up. This is an assault at full intensity. More than 30 long-range combat UAVs surge across the peninsula. They fly low, screaming through the night air at altitudes as low as 40 meters. They are far beneath the reach of Russia's early warning systems. The night rips open. The first explosion takes out a forward Russian radar post. The antenna tower collapses, spewing a blizzard of sparks. Blackout. For 22 critical seconds, Russian operators lose the entire northern tracking grid. That is all the time the swarm needs. A full formation of drones slips through the gap, untouched. 12:03 a.m., Russian air defenses erupt in blind fury. They are reacting, not anticipating. S-300 batteries launch 8 interceptors in just 17 seconds. They are pushing their own systems past safe limits. A nearby Panzer S-1 unit screams into overload. Its tracking radar fails, forcing operators into manual mode. Precision targeting dissolves into frantic guesswork. The Ukrainian drones weave through the crumbling network, exploiting 6-kilometer gaps in the defense. They press the advantage relentlessly. The tactical strikes begin to rattle the Russian command. 3 Ukrainian drones execute a coordinated dive toward a Russian ammunition transfer point. One drone slams into a fuel tanker dead center. The explosion is immediate and catastrophic. A rolling fireball shoots hundreds of meters into the night sky. Windows shatter violently across the nearby barracks. Russian radio traffic fills with static and panic. A frantic shout cuts through the chaos. "They're heading for Jankoy! Intercept immediately!" But interception is already impossible. By 12:10 a.m., at least 9 Ukrainian drones have broken through the final defensive ring. They accelerate straight toward the Iskander storage zone. The Russian launchers are cooked. Overheated from the rapid firing rate, 2 S-300 units shut down completely. A fatal 6-minute gap in coverage opens up, leaving the highly sensitive missile bunker exposed. The drones are coordinated, they are relentless, they close in on Russia's most protected vault. At 12:09, the pressure is rising. The surviving swarm crosses the restricted military perimeter of Jankoy. The Russian air defense grid is fractured. Remaining batteries fire blindly, unable to lock onto the low-altitude targets weaving between communication towers and tree lines. The drones descend sharply toward the outer security ring. This zone is fortified with motion sensors, infrared cameras, and anti-drone jammers. Under normal conditions, this perimeter is nearly impenetrable. But Russia did not anticipate simultaneous strikes from multiple angles. 2 jammers overload instantly. The third fails completely after a sudden power fluctuation caused by the earlier explosions. The fortress is now exposed. The Ukrainian swarm gains full lethal autonomy. 12:11 a.m. The first drone slams home. It strikes a reinforced blast door aiming precisely for the bunker's ventilation conduit. The explosion is not designed to destroy the bunker, it is designed to open it. The blast rips away the steel plating, exposing the internal tunnel system to the open air. Seconds later, the second drone dives straight into the breach. This is the kill shot. A warhead engineered for hardened structures detonates deep inside the tunnel. It instantly ignites stored propellant canisters. Russian emergency sensors record an impossible thermal spike. Temperatures surge past 1,200 degrees Celsius. Flames shoot back through the tunnel like a pressurized furnace. The bunker's backup crew is instantly incinerated. The third drone completes the strike package. It slams into the secondary storage chamber where an estimated 15 to 20 Iskander missiles wait on mobile racks. The impact triggers the theoretically impossible, a chain reaction. 1 Iskander booster ignites, then another, then 8 more one after another in terrifying rapid succession. The ground shakes violently. A shockwave rolls across Jankoy, tossing people from their beds. Windows shatter across civilian areas over 3 kilometers away. Car alarms blare across the entire city. Russian military channels go silent for nearly 2 minutes. Complete terrifying blackout. 12:15 a.m. The climax arrives. A massive column of fire erupts from the underground complex. It reaches more than 200 meters into the night sky. Debris rains down like burning shrapnel. The heart of Russia's missile reserve in Crimea is no longer a bunker. It is an inferno. This is a catastrophic, undeniable strategic collapse. The fire inside Jankoy reaches full detonation pressure. What began as a strike becomes a runaway chain reaction. Monitoring stations detect seismic tremors registering 2.3 on the local scale. This is not natural activity. This is the violent rolling collapse of subterranean chambers. The explosions do not stop. They come in layers. Every 20 to 40 seconds, another internal blast shakes the ground. Russian crews attempt to approach the complex, but the radiant heat forces them back. Twice. Temperatures near the blast crater exceed 900 degrees Celsius. This is heat intense enough to melt exposed aluminum and severely warp steel beams. A structural failure in the eastern tunnel triggers an explosion estimated to release energy equivalent to 1.5 tons of TNT. Debris is launched in arcs more than 500 meters high. Segments of missile casings are later found over 2 kilometers away. Local residents flood emergency lines. Thousands of calls. Civilians report seeing multiple suns rising from behind the hills. A visual confirmation of sequential ignition of missile boosters. Panic grips the city. Traffic jams stretch for 5 kilometers as people flee. Inside Russian command centers, confusion spirals into near paralysis. Sensors send impossible readings. Temperature spikes beyond instrument range. Attempts to activate the automated suppression system fail. The heat has already destroyed the internal pipeline network. 12:27 a.m. The central chamber buckles inward. A crater estimated at 45 meters wide forms. The sheer force pulls surrounding structures down like a sinkhole. Communication towers, perimeter fencing, and an entire loading bay vanish into the abyss. Jankoy is gone. Once Russia's best protected missile storage site, it is now an open wound, glowing violently in the dark. Crimea is not just burning, it is exposed, wide open, in full view of the world. The first satellite images arrive. Analysts struggle to describe the devastation. A crater the size of a football stadium. Scorched terrain spreads outward like the petals of a dead flower. Russia's prized Iskander missile fleet is reduced to twisted fragments. The numbers confirm the scale of the defeat. Preliminary assessments show at least 18 missiles destroyed, with another 12 to 15 likely damaged beyond repair. Nearly 1/3 of Russia's active Iskander stockpile in Crimea is eliminated in a single night. The operational loss is so severe that Moscow is immediately forced to reroute missile units from Belgorod and Krasnodar just to fill the capacity gap. But the cost runs deeper than the missiles. The infrastructure is gutted. Analysts identify the charred remains of 4 missile transport erector launchers, 7 command and control vehicles, multiple fuel storage rigs, 2 mobile climate control units. Rebuilding a single TEL alone costs Russia an estimated $5 to $7 million. The psychological impact on Russian forces is immediate and deep. Soldiers evacuated from the blast site suffer temporary deafness, shock trauma, and severe burns. Intercepted communications capture the terrible truth. We've lost the entire wing. Nothing is left. The Kremlin's promise that strategic storage sites like Jankoy were impregnable shatters on a global stage. Russian state media scrambles, pivoting from blaming equipment malfunction to outright denial. A denial quickly undermined as video footage spreads across Telegram channels. The battlefield calculation has changed completely. Russia is not just hit, it is crippled where it matters most. By noon the next day, the fallout reaches Moscow. President Putin convenes an emergency briefing. Internal reports cite unprecedented levels of frustration. The general overseeing Crimean missile logistics is quietly removed from his post, an implicit, undeniable admission of catastrophic oversight. Strategically, the damage is devastating. With the Jankoy missile hub destroyed, Russia's ability to launch coordinated Iskander strikes from Crimea drops by nearly 60%. The rapid strike capability is severely reduced. Satellite monitoring confirms frantic movement, emergency relocation of remaining missiles, rapid deployment of panzer units from Rostov. None of it can compensate for the sheer loss of capacity. Inside Ukraine, morale surges. Social media fills with celebration. For months, Russian commanders called Crimea untouchable. Now that notion is proved false. NATO analysts praised the operation, noting a level of strategic sophistication previously underestimated. The strike on Jankoy is not just another operation, it is a turning point. In a single night, Ukraine exposed vulnerabilities Russia insisted did not exist. It shattered one of the most fortified missile hubs in the world. It disrupted strategic planning across the entire Crimean theater. The message is unmistakable: no bunker is truly safe, no system is invincible. As the smoke lifts over the ruins of Jankoy, the initiative shifts. Ukraine has demonstrated the capacity not only to defend, but to reach deep into the enemy's core and cripple its most guarded assets. The war has entered a new phase: decisive action. The world is watching. Do you think Russia can recover from a loss of this scale? Or is this the moment the tide truly turns? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe for the next deep dive.